Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday, everyone. Why does this look giving me a glare? But happy Monday. I hope all is well. Look, I love to call it Empowerment Monday, okay? Oh, man. So today, I just wanted to come on here just briefly, and I wanted to share with you guys my Love After documentary. When I came out with Love After documentary to accompany my book as just to tell my story visually, I was like, wait, I don't think I ever showed my documentary live or released it to the public. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do today. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show my Love After documentary. So I'm excited to show it. Um, I was supposed to have my producer Jane on, but unfortunately she's not here. However, I'm excited to still stand here on her behalf and just talk about a little bit of the journey. But I wanted to also present to you guys the trailer before we get into it. Let me see here. And I can see you guys comment. So if you have any questions, concern, or things, shoot it over. But I wanted to play this trailer real quick that speak a little bit briefly. And the Love After documentary is a short doc. It's only about 11 minutes. But I wanted to show the trailer real quick before I get into the documentary, because you guys will be able to see the documentary here live. Live. It's called I'm Jacinth Love After. And it talked about my journey from Jamaica to the US and what that transformation was like and what that did for me as an immigrant. From a childhood and coming to America, it was a culture shock. It was a huge culture shock because for me, and not only am I from Jamaica, I'm from the country where I'm around goats, pig, you know, sheep, like whatever you can think of. To get my fruit, I literally climbed on the tree to pick my mango, to pick my apple, to pick my star apple, to pick my guava, and that was just the life I lived. I walked around outside barefoot. For me, I walking around barefoot, going down, fetching water on my head, coming back to because we didn't have water like that at times, so we had to go to the river with our bucket, fetch our water, bring it back, fill up the drum, this big barrel that we'll put the water in, go back and bring this little bucket of water, fill up the bucket and bring it back up the hill to pour it into our drum. That's where we'll, save our water to bathe, to cook, to drink, So when I tell you I don't look like what I've been through, but it made my muscle, it built my muscle. So without further ado, I wanted to show you guys a trailer real quick. And I just wanted to really shout out JP Packer, who were our cinematographer and director, who did a phenomenal job, who gave me the yes to go all the way to Jamaica for his first time and was able to shoot this documentary. And it was one of the best things I've ever done, like to tell my story and to go back home, like that's priceless. And shout out to Jane Applegate, who was a producer who made it possible and helped me in the production to put this all together and to tell my story. So I'm excited and I'm happy. I'm sad that she couldn't be with us today, but let me go ahead and show this to you guys real quick. Part of me always felt disappointed in myself for not protecting the little girl inside of me. I just felt like life was stripped away from me right before my eyes. I felt like I owed the little girl inside of me life, power, to be free. Forgiveness is not about the offenders. The forgiveness is about you taking your power back.
None other than Justice Headlow. Live in the building right now. Come on, Justice. Hey.
Live, we were joined by actress and author Justice Headlow.
Wow. Wow. So that is I'm Just Saying, the Love After documentary that we shot in Jamaica, man. We went back home to the beautiful island of Jamaica, Richmond, St. Mary to be exact, where we were able to film that. And it was just beautiful to go back home where it all started, back in Jamaica. Little girl from Richmond, St. Mary, where go Zion Hill Primary School, will walk and have a bucket on my head to bring water to cook, to clean, to drink, for bed, and to walk around barefoot. Sometimes walk barefoot down around the community. So shout out to my grandmother Lucilla Jackson, who held it down, who showed me the strength of a woman on a whole nother level, who showed me the strength of the importance of entrepreneurship, because grandma, and a lot of you guys will see my Mama Lou character, and my Mama Lou character is inspired by my grandmother. But Lucilla Jackson, she practically raised me, and my grandmother always been had her own store, and she'll go to the market, and this old lady would just be carrying this basket of produce on her head, whether it's fruit, vegetable that she would sell, and I would just see her do this by herself. And it was just like, wow. She never once complained. She never skipped a beat, never complained, never stopped. No matter how much she made a sale or a profit or didn't or did, she never stopped. And she gave me my love for entrepreneurship, to step out and follow my dream and to pursue and to have my businesses. And it's like, that's who I got it from. And then shout out to my beautiful mom, Cecile Jackson, and my beautiful dad, Bentley Headlow. I love you guys. But and back then too, you find a lot of parents will leave the child with their grandparents or family members back home in the island and come to the US to make ends meet, to work, to send money back home. So although my parents was here, I believe my dad left when I was around probably 1 year old, around one or a few months, shy of 1 year old. And then my mom left me when I was around 6 years old and came to the States. So from six on, I was living with my grandmother. And of course, I have aunties and uncle that was chip in, but my predominant caregiver was my grandmother, Lucille. So that's why I have such a soft spot in my heart for her, because a lot of the things of, my womanhood and my perception were shaped by her. Evangelist Jackson. My grandmother was evangelist. She did not play. We were in church like, look, 10 days a week, if you have that many days in a week. But all jokes aside, she instilled so much in me till this day. I will never grow apart from. A lot of discipline that she instilled in me is what I'm now instilling, in my kids, and carry it with me, you know. So I'm excited, and I just wanted to share a little bit of my journey, a little bit of my backstory of who is Jacint. Who is Jacint Alicia Headlow, right? And I'm just that little girl from Richmond, St. Mary, who came from nothing, and I'm making something. And no matter how rough the journey got or gets, because I still have my struggle. You see the glory, but you don't know the struggle in the story, right? But I do it with such grace because I know who my daddy is. But God, I know who my daddy is because I could have lost my mind. I've been through some stuff that could have took me out. But I always say, even in my post, what the enemy meant to break you and to take you out is the same exact thing that God is using to build you and to tell your story. Because your story is your power card. Your story is your purpose, right? That is your legacy. And I'm so excited because yesterday I wanted to share just one more important thing, before I bring on the documentary. But yesterday we had our week one of our first creative writing and empowerment circle with me And it was just so amazing, the amount of, women on the line that was saying, wow, Ja, I'm so happy you created something like this, because I've always wanted to write my story. I've always wanted to tell a story of, or earn extra stream of income through telling my story, but I just didn't know how. I needed that push. I needed some kind of support or accountability partner, or how do I structure my book? How do I even begin to write? Where do I start? Because my story is a lot. And sometimes when I start to tell my story, I get emotional or I get caught up, and I'm like, okay, that's why you have me here. I give you structure, I give you direction, and I take a lot of the weight off for you. And then when I put it that way, it's like, wow, you were able to help me with my title. You were able to help me with my outline, just like so quickly, because it's easier for people to dissect and interpret things versus the person who's actually dealing with it. It's like a counselor. When you go to a therapy session, your counselor can sit there and take notes and, okay, all right. But what I'm hearing you saying is, and they can break everything down and dissect and tear it apart and put it back together again. You're like, wow, how did they do that? Because it's always harder when you're looking in the mirror at your own life. But when you have someone that's holding you accountable and saying, I got your back, I got this. We got this. I got your back, and give you direction. Because that's what a lot of people need, is direction. And I think that's where I struggle with the most, is having accountability, having someone that can give me direction and guidance. Yeah. So sometimes people just need like a coach or a life coach that's saying, hey, I have all this going on and I'm so overwhelmed and I'm so bombarded and I just need direction. I need clarity. I need guidance. Okay, let's do that. Let's talk. And I'll just be able to boom, 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 right? So I was just so excited last night when we were having a creative writing and empowerment circle, and just the women and a couple guys, that were on there, and everyone that were on there was just like, just they were so open and so vulnerable, and was like, wow, I went through this, and this is what I want God to heal me from, and this is what I want to be delivered from, and this is what I want, to get rid of, and this is what's blocking me, and this is what's keeping me stagnant. And when you're able to identify that, now we're working. When you're able to die to self so you can grow and birth and go to a new level, because you get to a point where you just feel like a hamster on a wheel, and you're doing the same thing, and you're just being reactive, and you're not waking up with intentionality. You're not waking up with purpose. You're just going out along your day after day, and just the same thing every day in and day out, just because that's what I got to do. But you want to get to a point where you're excited about life. Yes, your life is not perfect. Yes, not all the way put together, but whose is? But you have intentionality and you have joy. You wake up with such gratitude. Yes, I know I'm not where I need to be, and I know things, but I trust God that it's going to fall into place. I trust that it's going to work out for my good, right? So I'm excited for the people who showed up and ready to roll up their sleeve and say, look, I'm ready to birth this book. I'm ready to turn my story into a film. I'm ready to do this. Let's go. And I was just excited. It just gave me confirmation, like, okay, I made a right move. And for me, it wasn't about just the book. For me, my assignment was the writers. My assignment is the individual, because when you birth a book, people are now looking at you like you're expert. Like, wow, you were able to overcome. How did you? Can you help me? Oh my God, I've been through the same thing, and this is where I'm hurting. Can you help? And they're looking at you for advice, for help. And how do you pay it forward if you're still hurt and you're writing a book? You're writing a book and you haven't came to realization. So now I don't want you to be fraudulent. You have to. So for me, it's dealing with the individual. So when you birth this book, you're birthing it in a space of peace, joy, and happiness, right? And you're in divine alignment, so that when you are able to pay it forward and speak to the next woman who's hurting like you, or speak to the next guy who's hurting like you know how to stand there boldly and pay it forward so you can help them and minister, right? Your story is your power tool. Your story is your weapon. Your story is your purpose. That is your power. That is your legacy. Your story will outlive you. If you die tomorrow, that story is going to outlive you. Your kids can benefit from that. There's people that died, Martin Luther King, and we still doing renditions of his story. He probably got like 20 films out. Your story will outlive you. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? What is the legacy? Like if you die tomorrow, knock on wood, what do you want to be on your tombstone? What do you want your obituary to sound like? Think like that, right? When you think like that, wow, things start to change. You move with purpose. So I'm not gonna keep talking. All right. So without further ado, I wanted to share with you guys my short documentary. It's about 10 minutes and it's called I'm Jacinth, and it talks about my love after journey. And I hope you guys enjoy. And if you guys want to stay after, it's about 10 minutes. I can take any questions, comments, or concern. And like I said, we went back to Jamaica to shoot this documentary. Shout out to JP Packer. Shout out to Jane Applegate and everybody that was involved. Shout out to my uncle Vivian and my cousin Popsy, who was our taxi driver. But we need a whole segment. We need a whole TV show on Popsy being our taxi driver, because that's a story for another day. I love him though. But driving in Jamaica, especially when we got tourists and the roads are bad and you go on Donga Gully and Donga the Hill and back up and down more gully, is like touring with Popsy, the taxi driver, is a whole book and a whole series in itself. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and share with you guys I'm Jacinth, the Love After documentary. And I will see you guys soon, right after. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Part of me always felt disappointed in myself for not protecting the little girl inside of me. I just felt like life was stripped away from me right before my eyes. I felt like I owed the little girl inside of me life, power, to be free. Forgiveness is not about the offenders. The forgiveness is about you taking your power back.
Was none other than Jacinth Headlow, live in the building right now. What am I telling you? Hey, hey!
Live, we were joined by actress and author Jacinth Headlow.
To school, part of me always felt disappointed in myself. Disappointed for some of the poor choices that I made. For not protecting the little girl inside of me. For not putting myself first. For not choosing me. I was raised by my grandmother, Lucilda Jackson, in Richmond, St. Mary, Jamaica. I remember having to bring water in my head up and down these hills, having to climb these hills daily to go to school. Even sometimes there's no water, so we have to go hike to the river to take a bath. I remember sometime even being surrounded by a lot of family members, but still being alone. I was here with my grandma while my parents were in the States trying to make ends meet. Life growing up was rough. My grandmother did the best she could, but at the end of the day, every child needs their mom and dad. That one-on-one love, that one-on-one connection. And I didn't feel like I had that. My grandmother really inspired me to not allow anyone to take my power from me. And I remember her taking me to church every Sunday, religiously, and taking me to school. And I really admired her growing up. She taught me entrepreneurship. She had her own store. She sold food, clothes, whatever grandma can sell, she sold. And I really saw what it's like to just be your own boss and be in control of your dreams. And she taught me that. She really, really inspired me. And I don't think she knows but how much of an impact she had on my life. She really had a huge impact on my life. I remember the little girl, Jacinth, just very shy, believe it or not. I felt like I owed the little girl inside of me life, power, to be free. And that's one thing I was on a quest to figure out and to find any means necessary, how to get my freedom back, how to be free on all levels. I wanted to give her that because I felt like she lost that. She lost that freedom, that color to life. And me wanting to free the little girl inside of me, and also me wanting to free the 29-year-old woman inside of me who felt captive, who felt lost, who felt hurt, who felt betrayed. I had to give them freedom. And that was my job. That was my quest, to give both of them freedom and freeing myself in totality. And I knew in order for me to go to that level, I had to go through a certain level of healing. I had to first heal. One of the hardest things that I had to learn to do was to forgive. How did I get here? You know, a couple of years ago, at 29, I found myself lost, broke, and just at a place where I lost all faith, hope. I just felt like life was stripped away from me right before my eyes. And I felt like I was at a place of no return. You know, at 29, going through a bad divorce with 2 kids involved, having to move back to my mother's house with 5 garbage bags to be exact with my clothes, and staying in her attic with my 2 kids and I on a full-size bed. And I remember one day I was just staring into the ceiling, watching the fan, and questioning God just became a norm because I was so angry. Didn't know, how did I get here? Why me? And why did this have to happen to me? What did I do that bad to deserve this? Yeah. At that point, all I knew was how to be a wife and a mother. But who was Jacinth? I really didn't know who I was. I was lost. You know, looking back, I now realize that I never really witnessed true love. I didn't really know what love really meant because I didn't have it within. And growing up, I never witnessed it in terms of an example of what true love looks like in a marriage or a relationship. You know, I finally stood my grounds and chose me. I was tired of living in someone else's shadow, sacrificing my happiness and heart desires for theirs. You know, many people think because you love yourself more, that means you love them less. And that's not the case. You know, in order for you to love someone else, you have to know what it's like to love yourself. Self-love, knowing who you are, whose you are, your identity, your purpose. That comes first and foremost before anything. So I had to learn to focus on myself, my purpose, my children, my happiness, and who I was, and who I was meant to be. I found the power to forgive when I figured out that the power in forgiving is freeing myself. Forgiving the people who offended me, forgiving myself, and forgiving God because I was so angry. I was angry at myself. I was angry at God for allowing certain things to happen to me. I was angry at the people who did me wrong, the people I trusted the most, the people who I let my guards down for. I had to forgive. Forgiveness is not about the offenders. The forgiveness is about you taking your power back, not allowing anything to keep you in bondage, not allowing anything to keep you shackled up, imprisoned. And forgiveness for me was that key. Who would have thought my forgiveness would have led to my purpose, my love after? In the quest of finding my purpose, I decided to write a book. And writing my book is where I found freedom to express myself. It really started out as a journal. And from the journal, it dawned on me that all of my trials and tribulation can be used as a testimony to be a blessing to someone else, to pay it forward, to help someone come to a place of healing, come to a place of restoration, come to a place of finding who they are, finding their voice, finding their purpose. And that's what love after really means.
Hey, Zintegrets, what's up? Right now we have in the building a beautiful multi-award winning actress, model, film producer, and a mom who was born and raised in St. Mary, Jamaica. And Zintegrets, we are talking about none other than Jacinth Headlow, live in the building right now. Welcome, Jacinth.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
You think this is an ordinary interview? You think you can walk in here, Miss Jacinth Headlow, Miss Actress, and just talk about your book with
Daytime Live, we are joined by actress and author Jacinth Headlow, who's here to talk about her new book and her movie project. Welcome.
Love After has given me the platform to be able to reach many people, especially here on the island. Since I've been here, I've done many news, media, press, being able to go to the schools and empower the youths and empower these girls and these little boys.
Always remember to don't give up on your dreams, don't give up on your hope, stay true to your dreams, because every dream will come true. You just have to work hard. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Not only did I have to grow as a person, but I felt compelled to find my true voice. My purpose is to help others come to a place of healing and restoration, to find themselves, to find their voice, to find their love after within themselves. I want everyone to come to a place of dying to self, whatever it is that's holding you captive, to be able to die from that and to come to a place of rebirth, resurrection, choosing yourself, finding your love after. Because there's love after. And I want us all to be able to embrace that within ourselves. You know, that there's love after. Whatever it is, there's love after that. Had I known that forgiveness was one thing that was tied to my freedom, I would have done it a long time ago, but everything happens when it's supposed to in its rightful time. Wow. Wow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh man. I'm just reading some of the comments now. I don't want to be looking down, but I want to shout out David Anthony. I thank you so much, David. I've been knowing David since back in our Wells Fargo days. Thank you so much, Kevin McGill. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Chanel Maxwell, thank you. Kyle, Positive Kyle. Lassiter, thank you for watching. Jennifer Diaby, thank you so much for watching. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. So much. If you guys have any questions or concern, or anything that you want to say or any question that you want to ask away. I also wanted to bring on my lovely producer, Jane Applegate. She's just such a beautiful joy inside and out. I don't want to keep up too much of your evening. I'm going to bring her on so she can tell you all about herself, but she helped made this I Am Just Since Love After documentary possible. God knew what he was doing when he placed her in my life. This was nothing but a blessing. And for her to leave her family and go all the way to Jamaica with our taxi driver, my cousin Popsy.
I'm still recovering, Jacinth. We thought we were gonna die in Jamaica, but we didn't. We survived.
Oh, right. How are you, beautiful?
I'm good. I'm in California.
Yes. While we're over here in the cold.
I'm actually on my way to the pool, so I'm wearing my pool clothes.
Okay, you look good. You look good. I just wanted to tell you thank you. I just played the trailer and I just played the documentary, and a lot of people, I'm just looking at the comments on here. A lot of people were saying, wow, powerful, such an amazing thing. Congratulations. So I just wanted to say thank you for making that possible. Thank you for believing in me. And just to be clear, we shot this documentary, was it like about the end of 2020? Was it? No, 2019, right?
No, I think it was actually 2018.
No, because I came out with the book 2019 of February.
Okay.
Yes, and it was after, because we went to Jamaica to do the book release, so it had to be, I think, later. Late, because I had the book on me.
Yes,
Yeah, it was New Year's, right? Was it New Year's?
It was around your birthday. We had the book.
Yes, it was around January of 2019. We did a pre-launch in Jamaica, and then we did the official launch in the US on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So yes,
it was a love after theme.
Yes.
And you know what I was trying to remember? How did we actually meet each other? That's the part that's a little funny.
It was on Caribbean Girls NYC.
Oh, that's right. I cast you in a pilot.
Yes.
And we just totally clicked.
Yes.
And you said you wanted to write a book. And you said, I would like to go home to Jamaica and share my story.
Wow.
And I'm always up for a trip.
Yes, and you're an amazing producer. I mean, Jane is an author as well and a producer. She just has so much under her belt: a teacher, a professor, a mom, a wife. Just tell them a little bit because they just want to know more about you. For those who don't know or not familiar, just give them a short description of you, yourself.
Well, I've had what you would call a very zigzag career in show business. I was a journalist for many years and a financial reporter for Bloomberg and CNN. And then my family likes to say I got stupid and went into the independent film business. And I don't know. I'm always up for an adventure. I just feel like we have one round around the planet at some point.
Yeah, make it.
And, Jacinth and I became really good friends, and she had this vision, and she's so talented. And she was the best person in this pilot that was a great idea for a TV show. It was the Sex and the City Caribbean style.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we had kind of a crazy director, and the whole thing, like many projects, didn't quite pan out.
The day or light of day.
Yeah, but
we birthed from it.
Yeah, we became friends, and I was kind of managing her, and she said, what do you think about doing a homecoming tour? We will go back to where I grew up in my village. What's it called? Is it Richmond?
Richmond, St. Mary. It does feel like a village.
And we went, and you got to see, you met her grandma and all the neighbors, and we had quite an adventure because I'm a pretty good producer, and we had a plan. Every day we were going to shoot different parts of the video of her story, but her crazy Popsy basically kidnapped us. And I would be like, just since like, we need to be at the girls' school at this time. And he'd be like, no, we're not. We're going to see a waterfall.
We're gonna see a waterfall. Like he wanted to be our tour guide, and we're like, no, we're here on business. Like, no, real quick, I want to take you to a waterfall.
Yeah, 3 hours later. But I think the highlight, and you said you showed the film, so people saw you back at your school.
Yes, I grew
And
up.
the children, that scene where the children are all around you and you're telling them how you can live your dream and you should not give up.
Yeah.
And I was in the back, crying because it was so beautiful.
Wow.
And we got to meet her family and we had just a lot of adventures.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die on the roads of Jamaica.
I would have had to answer to Mr. Applegate, your kid. They probably would have had my head on a platter for not bringing their wife and their mother back in one piece.
Yeah, and I'd never been to the Jamaica. I loved it. We went to the Bob Marley Museum, which was a highlight.
That was a highlight. I did not know it was this powerful.
It was fabulous. But the best moments with Popsy was just sits in the front seat on her phone, like chilling, looking out the window. The cinematographer and I were in the back like this. We're gonna die. You can call our families now. You can call them now. And the cars
you're holding on for like dear life, because in Jamaica, like they drive crazy. I would never even want to rent a car and drive in Jamaica because there's
one lane road.
There's no rules. There's no stop signs. There's no, of course, I'm talking about countryside. When you go more into like the tourists and buying the tourism area, they'll have a little bit more rule.
Yeah. No, this was wild. The wild, Blue Mountains of Jamaica. It was gorgeous. I mean, but I really was saying my last testament in the car.
Yes. Oh my gosh! Well, we made it. We made it.
It was so beautiful because we had this book party at this local bookshop, and all Just Since fans showed up for autographed copies. We had food. We had a celebration.
I was saying shout out to Stewart Cinema, Emmeline Stewart, who allowed us to use her space. Thank you so much. She just been such a supporter of my whole journey. So thank you.
Yeah, she's great. She has the that cinema in Greenpoint, Brooklyn is such a community center. It's got a cafe. She has screenings. She welcomes all independent filmmakers. She's awesome.
And she's opening up a new location with 3 screening rooms now. Yeah, she's like the first minority to do anything like this. Yeah. Especially in Brooklyn, New York. So I'm excited. It's also be close by.
Right. Yeah. She also works with Rooftop Films. But yeah, she really welcomed us. We did have some fun times that night. You put my husband in charge of tickets at the door. And then all of Just Since fans literally said, "We're not paying for these tickets. Get out of the way, you funny old white guy."
No, because they already had got on Eventbrite.
And I said, "Wait a minute, we have a guest list. I'm in charge of the party." And Joe, my poor husband, was like, "Let them all in. Let them all in."
Come on. But it was nice. It was a festive night. And thank God it was my family and friends that came out to support. And the documentary is still living on. I just called Jane the other day. I was like, I never showed the documentary. I never released it publicly. And I'm like, I'm just going to put it up on, on YouTube, and I would like to interview you and bring you on so we can talk about, the journey of the documentary. And shout out again to JP Packer and just everybody that was a part of the journey. I thank you guys from Jamaica to here, family, friends, everyone. Jane, you're amazing. Thank you to your husband, just everybody that was a part of this Love After journey. I'm super grateful, and birthing from my transformation, my love after transformation, from everything I've gone through to the woman I am today. You guys all made that possible in my growth, in my development. So I'm a woman now.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but I had my sister in town.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin was also helping. So the
Can you please say your name so we can shout them out and let them
my sister Amy Berger was helping with the books.
Thank you, Amy.
And my really fun sister, my cousin, who I consider a sister, Dana Stevenson, was up.
Nah.
She doesn't do any event like that. These are two non-film people.
Oh, they're not in the film business. Oh, yeah. So you're like the only one in the film, and your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter is quite an accomplished editor. She's right now cutting a Hulu series.
Oh, wow. Wow. I need to call her for my next project.
I know. She's really at the top of her game. She's editing it was just in Variety, so I can tell you a bit. It's a 4-part series on all these Native American women who were killed by the FBI in the 60s. Because they were radical, they were in the American Indian movement. And our friend, the writer-director, Yvonne Russo, has been following the story for years, and she finally sold it to Hulu.
Wow. Wow. I cannot wait. Do they have a release date estimated?
I think it's coming out in the spring. It's called The Legend of Annie Mae.
The Legend of Annie Mae. Wow. Well, congratulations to your daughter, man. That's major. What is her full name?
Jeannie Applegate.
Applegate, Jeannie Applegate. She's amazing. Does she do independent films?
Unfortunately, Jacinta, I don't think at this point you could afford her.
Hey, don't write me off that quick. What you see today is not tomorrow's prices, okay?
During the pandemic, we all moved out from Brooklyn up to her. She bought a falling down house an hour outside of Brooklyn near Peekskill, New York, on the river.
Yeah.
And she said, we're going to fix it up and rent it. But till the pandemic's over, you and Pop should just come up and live here. And we never left.
And you're by the river. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Really nice. And then our son moved in. So now so it was weird. We never thought we'd be living together, but it was a blessing of the pandemic.
Wow. The pandemic definitely grew, a lot of family closer. It also tore up a lot of families, unfortunately. But, it just really showed you if you don't like someone and you tolerated them, the pandemic was the time to get rid of them. And the pandemic actually brought a lot of family closer because it's like time is short, and it's not worth it jeopardizing your relationship and your family for money, for status, for titles, for all of that is like it doesn't go with you.
Doesn't matter. None of that matters.
None of that matters, man. But your loved ones love that, that's important. But Jane, I love you. I appreciate you. I ain't gonna keep these folks on too much longer. But just congratulations again to us for birthing this together. And I love you. I appreciate you. And
we have to see each other in person. It's been a couple years.
Chef U, what is it? Where's our spot that we usually go to?
We like a really cheap but delicious.
Delicious. What is it called? I gotta put people on. Is it Chef U? It is Chef U.
I think it's on 36th and 8th in New York City.
In New York City. That place is a nice Asian restaurant, and their food is so good and so affordable. And that's our meeting spot. And we've been addicted to that ever since. That's our go-to. After we did, I think it was Texas BBQs or something the first time. And then Texas, and then Chef U. But I love you, and I'll talk to you more afterwards. Any last words or any encouragement words for everyone?
Well, I would just say, life is short, and you've got to go for your dreams. I mean, I'm supposed to retire and just teach this year, but I got a crazy TV show idea about women around the world who need their stories told. So you can look at Remarkable Women's Stories. That's our new website.
Wow.
And I just figure, you've got to figure you got one shot, and what do you have to lose? And Jacinta is such a great example of coming from nothing and nowhere and creating a world of talent and creativity. Wow. She's a model. She's a mom. She's so much fun to hang out with. If you ever want to go to Jamaica, go with Jacinta.
We actually have a trip coming up that I'm planning a group trip for the May 1st to, I think, July 4th, May 1st to June 4th or something like that. It was like 5 days, 4 nights. So Yeah, if y'all want to go, it's time to turn now. Let's
Maybe
go.
not.
You and me.
Only if Popsy's not driving me around.
Popsy's not driving. The hotel is picking us up. We have chauffeurs, honey. We have chauffeurs.
I have to tell your fans though, the thing about Popsy is he's a bus driver by trade.
Yeah.
And he's so used to being in traffic and stuck in the traffic that when we hired him to be our driver, he was like a race car driver. He said, I'm not stuck in traffic, baby. We are going. And I would say,
and this was Jay and JP in the back. Jay going like this, hanging on for dear life. But yeah.
I said, we have an appointment. Jacinth has to be at a certain place. And he'd be like, first, the waterfall. And then 3 hours later, I'd be like, well, we missed that appointment.
All right.
So you gotta be on, you have to be flexible, you have to be on Jamaica time.
I appreciate you. We can be
All
on
right.
here all day.
Sorry I was a little late. I was dealing with my antique parents here, so sorry.
It's okay. I was able to show everything, so I'm glad that they were able to still get you at the tail end. So I appreciate that. Without further ado, people, thank you, Jane. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, bye.